Hello? Yes, this is Woody Klose.
And Virginia?
We're talking to you, transcribing as usual directly from the kitchen. The nice, new, spanking, brand new, freshly painted, freshly papered, red, white, and blue kitchen at Echo Valley Farm, our home at Red Hook in Dutchess County, New York. And I'm glad I made it today, dear.
Well, you look a little breathless. I thought maybe you wouldn't. I was a little breathless when what should appear but my friend husband out of the blue from New York.
You certainly weren't worried about talking by yourself for 15 minutes.
Well,
dear.
you know how...
You can do that at any time of the day, night, or morning.
You know, that's the funny thing. I never do talk to myself, and I don't even sing when I'm taking a bath.
If I hadn't arrived today, you know what you would have done?
What?
You would have been very happy indeed, I think.
No.
You would have just started chatting here with our friends all over the country, and you would have done a magnificent job, I'm sure. Just ad-libbing 15 minutes all by yourself. You might have had Taylor in. Would you have liked to talk to Mommy, Taylor?
Yeah.
Taylor, do you think I talk much?
Yeah.
I can't
There
win.
you are, you see?
Oh, what a ganging up I take.
But what a day it has been, Virginia,
Thanks,
for me.
Taylor.
I mean, to get up that early in the morning and get out all by myself, you know.
All by yourself? You're a big boy now.
Well, thank you, dear. I'm glad to know that. But no wife, no children, nobody to escort me to the train, and I had to go down there all by myself this morning and spend half the day in New York and rush madly back here, and here I am.
You know, when you say I had to go without my wife and without my children, there are many men, I understand, who would relish such a situation. Don't tell me you're a different breed of guy.
Well, I think there are occasions when every husband and father likes to be by himself and likes to have a lonely moment, you know, when he is not burdened down with a wife, if you'll forgive me.
But you didn't want that this morning.
When he doesn't have to listen, no, I didn't want it this morning, that's right. I wanted to be with you, but I had to get out of my bed and go to New York. To do that script that I was doing all day yesterday in the midst of great confusion here in the household that I had to finally finish from 12 last night until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, let me tell you something, Toots.
Darling, I don't know whether you can tell me anything or not.
Well, I'm going to try. Shall we put it that way? Let me try and tell you.
All right.
Every human being likes one of those lovely, luscious moments of being alone. Not that she doesn't love her husband and 5 children, if you're meaning me. But I think that everyone must have a moment occasionally when he's completely alone. And I had such a moment this morning, believe it or not. After you left, I came downstairs. I sneaked down as quietly as Toscanini, the mouse that inhabits our piano in winter. And I made myself a large pot of delicious coffee, and nobody was around to tell me it wasn't delicious. Can you stand it? And I sat down at the breakfast table right here, and I enjoyed that coffee so much. And I looked out at the beautiful morning in the country, and I congratulated you, not me, but you, for bringing us from the city to the country. And the dog, Laddie, our very super-duper collie, who always comes to the back door when he hears me stirring, arrived at the back door at the screen sniffing significantly, meaning, hey, kid, where's my breakfast? And I said to him, listen, wag your elegant aristocratic tail under somebody else's nose for a moment. I am enjoying something that I haven't enjoyed for months and months, a moment of coffee uninterrupted by children asking for Wheaties or another egg, or husband saying, my, this is lousy coffee. What's the matter with you, dear?
Now, why don't you stop, dear? And you want me to tell you the most beautiful moment of the day for me?
What's that?
Is that moment after I get out of bed and walk down the upstairs hall toward the back window to the south. I can stand there at that hall window and just in my pajamas, my slippers, before I get in the bathroom.
How intimate.
Just look right out over the garden and the lower meadow and the orchard part of it. And way back in the distance are the Berkshires rising up on a clear day, and you can see them, and the sun begins to come up sort of to the left over that direction, you know. That, just for 10 seconds, I suppose, is all you need to really equip you for the whole day. One look at that, Virginia, and I can go to New York and fight for everything. You know?
You have to, kid. You mean you get out your grindstone and feel fine and happy back on it.
And put my nose on it, yes.
Well, you should have been here later, shouldn't he, Taylor?
Yeah.
We had kind of a day, dear, didn't we?
I've been here all day.
I went down to the village early this morning, right after breakfast. The children stirred and got up early because they always do, as you found out yesterday when something unusual goes on. So I went to the post office to mail off some of our pictures because every day we get new requests, and I'm trying to keep neck and neck with our requests at this point.
Yes.
So I parked that beautiful, shining, gorgeous Oldsmobile.
Now, don't build it up too much, dear.
Well, kids.
But go on.
It's
now,
the
wait,
apple of our eye.
Wait just a moment. I'm not sure I want you to go on. I don't think you ought to tell me anything. I think I know what's coming, dear.
Oh, you do you?
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Oh,
You've got
no,
into
you
a
don't.
parking space. Let me recreate it if I can.
All right, you try from memory and from knowing me to make a picture. Go ahead.
Memory is very easy. You get into a parking space and you drive out at the wrong time and somebody comes along and clips your fender. That's normal for you. Is that what happened today?
This morning.
Please don't tell me. That new car, dear?
This morning.
Now, take it easy.
This morning I am subnormal. I parked the car in front of Susan's garage, my old hangout in winter when it's snowing, and there wasn't a soul in sight on the whole block that I parked on. I go in the post office and just passed a moment chatting with the boys. And,
A moment to you is like 2 hours to anybody else, dear. Mom, you can really gab, can't you, Taylor?
Yeah, I guess so.
You stop. You
That's
man,
good.
you awful characters. Anyway, there wasn't anybody around when I parked, and when I came out, there were several people around. One was a large milk truck with 10 cans of milk on it parked in front of me, and I couldn't put a piece of oilskin paper between his bumper and ours. Or he didn't even have a bumper between that big thing.
Yes.
And behind me was a car that snuggled up cozily with its bumper right next to ours, and you couldn't put a thread between that, and there I was. So you know what I did?
Sure,
I thought,
I
this
know.
is my moment to relax. Mrs. Riddleberg is home with the children, and she's doing the Friday chores. So I'll just sit here and read the mail from our nice friends. But then that little inner voice of conscience that said, Virginia Klose, you know you've got buttons to sew on. You know you've got the baby to bathe. Hurry home. Said those things to me, and I perked right up. Being an old, habit-bound creature, I couldn't still that little voice, so I
I'll
thought...
bet what was rising in you was the little voice of anger, probably, and you probably... Certainly, if it had been the old car, dear, a month ago, you would have pushed forward and you would have pushed backwards and you would finally have wormed yourself a way out. You would have got out on the post road and a milk truck would have come along and taken the other fender off.
Well, that's in my past, but this is the present, dear.
Oh, this is
So,
wonderful.
you know what I did?
What?
I didn't even turn the key in the ignition. I walked into Susan's garage, and Lee Houston, my old friend and pal who pulls me out of snowdrifts, was there, and he said, well, what are you doing in here? There's no snow this morning. And I said, no, but there's a situation out front that I can't manage, Lee. What'll I do? And I told him, and he came out and he looked and chewed his tongue a minute, and he said, slapping his thigh in great mirth, you wouldn't have done this 6 months ago.
Exactly what I said, of course.
All right, you men are always right. So I
what
said,
happened?
no,
You
I
found-
wouldn't. So he and Harry, his assistant, and a man I never saw before in the Grand Union Market came leaping out. And Lee got in the car behind me. Unfortunately, the nice guy had left the keys in the ignition. So Lee backed the car up, looked to me like 4 blocks. And
Yes.
the other two
That
men...
was just to give you room, dear, to
He
get
was
out.
awful cute about it and very obvious. The other two guys go out in the post road, the Albany post road. They flagged down the milk trucks. They flagged down every passenger car and milk truck for 2.5 miles either side of the stoplight, and then they motioned to me to come out.
You know, I
So
know
gingerly, I crawled out.
I know what happened, too. You
What?
backed up down the main street of the town for at least a block.
No, you know
By
what I
mistake,
did?
of course.
I waved happily goodbye to everybody and got it in neutral. You know, this old hydromatic drive on the Oldsmobile. And then I just sat there and nothing happened, and they were all a little bit startled at that point. No, I got out alive, and then I came home and I found Taylor with a long face, didn't I?
Yeah,
What was the long face about?
Well, what was it about?
the pig was out again.
That
pig
white
was-
pig.
Are you mad at him?
Yep.
His name is Houdini. He gets out of any fence. I can't understand this, Taylor. Why did he get out?
I don't know.
Well, how? Don't you know where? Can't you find out?
Nope, but you're the great man, and you put up a wire, and he still got out.
I can't understand
You
that.
aren't
He's
so great, kid. Resign your crown.
He's turning into a great high jumper, greater than I thought.
Well, you know
Believe me.
what? Taylor said, I'm not going to feed that pig anymore. And I said, let him sniff around for his own food if he doesn't want the kind that you bring him on a tray every morning, a la Waldorf Astoria.
As a matter of fact, Virginia, it's very good for pigs to be out occasionally. I mean, they shouldn't be cooped up in too small a pen. They should go roaming around in the pasture because they can get 3/4 of their food. What do
He'll
you mean?
hear you. He'll never come back in the pen. Anyway, I got
Anyway,
back
the-
in the house for my quiet Friday, you know.
Yeah.
And the boys all said, Mommy, Daddy told us last night that we should get our hair cut. If he didn't find our haircut when he came home, he would be very annoyed. So I said, oh.
Did I tell them I even left $2
I know
on the
you
dresser
did. I
this
found
morning?
the $2 and I thought, gee, I think I'll go to Florida with this. But no, I needed 50 cents more and I couldn't go. So I said, all right, boys, let's get together. And 11 o'clock, I banded all 4 boys, Taylor, Nicky, and Kevin, and Christy together, and Kevin looked odd to me, and I said, come over here, honey, and he had a hot forehead and cold hands.
Yeah.
I said, just a moment, so I dashed upstairs and got the thermometer and brought it down, put it in his mouth, and it read 102. So I took poor Master Kevin, oh, that poor little guy. I took him upstairs and put him in bed, and I told him we'd bring him a goodie from the village. And he said, all right. Finally, he quit crying. He was so upset. You know, even a haircut looks exciting when you do it en masse, as we do in this family. It's a big occasion.
Sure.
So we told him all the things we'd bring him. We went down to the barber shop, and I did my marketing while the boys, the 3 others, got shorn or trimmed or clipped by Foster, our pal. Mm-hmm. When I came back, Nicky looked very peculiar. And I said, Nicky, how are you feeling? He said, I've got a chill. You know what I need? I need a hot fudge sundae to warm me up.
Oh, a hot fudge sundae to warm him up at these prices, Virginia.
Oh, boy.
Do these children realize that inflation is on us?
Oh, they don't
or
even.
Or at least what is called pre-inflation?
Well, I
Do you realize that, Taylor?
Yeah.
You do,
What do
and
you
you
mean,
even
yeah?
asked for it anyway?
I only had a black raspberry.
Oh, you only
nice?
had one.
That was only 30 cents. Huh?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Did you get the pig in, or didn't you?
Well, anyway, I got this piggy home, Nicky, to bed. I put him to bed. And then Taylor, you just decided to give the pig up as a bad job, didn't you?
Yeah.
And Taylor was very lonesome.
I think you're afraid of the pig, Taylor.
No, I'm not, but after he nipped me, I just had a little more respect for him, that's all.
He didn't nip you, did he really?
Oh, yeah, and
When?
he nipped Laddie, boy, and Laddie really gives it to him now. When he finds him outside, he chases him like anything.
Let me tell you how Laddie chases him. I looked up from what I was doing, dusting in your study. I never like to mention this because you always ask me where I put everything, but I was dusting in your study, and I looked up and I saw a strange car drive in. And first, I saw a pig whisk by the front door, and then Laddie in hot pursuit, and then Taylor after Laddie and the pig, and Taylor, as he went by, shouted, Mommy, we have visitors. And then the visitors appeared. And
they all came in for tea, including
No,
the
sir,
pig.
they didn't. They were some very nice friends of ours, listeners from Fort Worth, Florida. Their name is Termansky.
Oh,
and they have
nice.
written to us before, and they were on their way to Lake Placid for their summer vacation. They said they'd taken the ferry over from the other side, took it over at Kingston, and said they were coming just to see us, and I was so pleased to see them, and I knew that you'd be very upset not to meet them because you always like to be here when our listeners arrive. And here they were, and I said, I'm terribly sorry to have the pig running around the front yard and the dog chasing him when you come. And they laughed madly and said, you know, we wondered if you'd be like we thought you were, and you're even more like it. I wonder what they meant. So the payoff came when these nice friends of ours chatted with me for a while, and they saw Debbie, and they saw Christy, and they couldn't see Nicky or Kevin, who were in bed. And then they said, well, we must be getting along. We've got to go way up the post road. They were going on their journey. You know?
And we were in the barn.
So their son, John, and their daughter, Lorraine, were with them. Nice kids, darling.
John and Lorraine were out in the barn with you?
No,
No,
Lorraine was
just John.
with me and the mother and father, and John had disappeared in the barn.
Boy, we were having fun chasing him around like anything. Jerry, Faye, John, and myself.
And the boy from
What were you
Florida,
doing?
John, I think played a major part in trapping
John
a white pig.
roped him. Jerry threw the bag over his head and got him trapped, and I tackled him. And then we were having a hard job struggling with him and trying to put him over the pen and everything, but we couldn't do it. And then Mr. Jermansky came and threw him over the pen for us, and that was the end of the take.
Well, that's very good indeed, and I'm very happy that Mr. Jemansky arrived at that particular
Oh, Kevin's
time.
sick, Woody. I've got to go.
Oh, dear. Poor Kevin's crying. Taylor, I'm sorry. We're going to have to get off the air. Mommy's got to go. What's the matter, Kevin?
Oh, I guess he'll be all right.
Do you think he will?
Yeah.
Well, what's happened to him?
I don't know. I guess he's just sick a little.
Well, I guess he is. Taylor, did you have fun with the pig?
Yeah, boy, he's a nice kid.
John is?
Yeah.
Why did you let this Florida cowboy come up here and show you how to rope a pig?
Well,
Well, is he bigger than you or littler?
no, we're about the same build and everything.
Uh-huh. Did
So
you
he
enjoy
didn't
it?
have much trouble.
Taylor, I'm sure that's true, and that you had a wonderful time with young John from Florida, from Lake Worth, Florida. But right at this moment, we've got to get off the air. But before we do, I want to tell everybody that on Monday, we're going to have as our guest the most beautiful girl in the world. Can you guess who that is? Well, of course you can't, because we haven't said that often enough, I'm sure. Goodbye, everybody. This is Woody Klose, and Virginia's up with Kevin. We'll see you all on Monday. We've been transcribing directly from Echo Valley Farm. Goodbye.